Got him. Oh, that's a decent fish too. Yeah, he does. Drop shot, leech, and night crawler. This is probably a technique and some spots that are a little more applicable to what you would be doing right now. What's up, fishing people? I'm out here on Lake Seattle, North Dakota. We're going on our third straight morning of morning thunderstorms. So I got out here a little later, and there's a chance of another thunderstorm at 1 o'clock. So, I don't know how much longer I'll be out here. We also got the obligatory post-storm wind conditions. So it's a little choppy, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And we've been fishing a lot of big spots lately, looking for big schools of fish for my clients. I haven't fished by myself in a boat for, I don't know how, it's been since June sometime. Well, that's kind of neat. So much room for activities. But I'm gonna look for some smaller spots, some spots on the spot, on the spot, on the spot. I don't really need these glasses. And because I said I was gonna do a review of this Pissy Fun Prism reel, and like I had said in the last video, I rigged up my poor man's drop shot here, pinching the hook off a jig because I couldn't find my pencil weights. Since then, I have found my pencil weights. So we're gonna do a little drop shotting, which I've never really, like one day I caught some walleyes drop shotting on Sakakawea last year in Douglas Bay. A bunch of tiny little ones, but it worked. Otherwise, I just catch smallmouth bass on it. So I think the fish here just like to chase things, so if you're sitting still, at least if you got a jigging wrap, they can chase a little bit. So if the drop shot doesn't work, I still have the Pissy Fun Carbon X2 on the awesome Fox River FR. I think it's the FRH. It's a medium light fast anyway. 7 foot something, 7 foot 1, 2, 3. But jigging wraps can sometimes spook fish, and fish are in a very ghosty mood lately, so I didn't really, I didn't really mark, graph, scan. I just kind of pulled into a spot, and I'm just gonna like jog around it so I don't hopefully ghost them out of here. Drop shot's less likely to ghost a fish than a jigging wrap. So that's the approach. I'm on a tiny little point. Then I'm gonna be looking for tiny little humps, rock piles, things like that, that I can precisely find fish that maybe will sit still and bite a bait, as opposed to fish that are just cruising around big flats, big humps, big shoreline breaks. What's the other word I'm looking for? Shelves, that kind of stuff. So stay tuned, see if I can figure this drop shot thing out, or go back to my old pal, the jigging wrap. Got a few leftover jumbo leeches. Gonna hook that baby on the drop shot through the bottom of the tail, not the sucker, so he is allowed to swim forward away from the drop shot. And leeches are not necessarily a huge thing on Sakakawea. There's not a ton of leeches in here. I just feel like a leech has a little more seductive and enticing action for a drop shot as opposed to a night crawler. But I don't have a problem trying the night crawlers too. trying to get this guy to warm up and release himself. There you go. Release. Quit balling up down there. Not gonna get a bite with you balled up like that. There you go. See, the water down there is warm. I know I got you an ice cold water in the cooler, but furl your wings, my sucky little friend. Fishing a drop shot is still so tough for me. I feel like I need to be doing more. It's like slip bobber fishing for me, except I'm holding it. I get antsy if I don't have activity in 20 seconds. It's not my style, but sometimes it feels like forcing a square peg through a round hole. But I want to do something different. And I still want to showcase this reel. The whole thing is, it's just like the Carbon X2, but it's even lighter. And it's, like I said in the last video, purpler. Ooh, I got fish to my left here. You can see them on side image anyway. We'll jog over to the left and see if we can't get right on top of these guys. Oh, now he's under the boat. Take another screenshot. Is it a walleye? Is it a smallmouth? Is it a goldeye? I don't know. What I would like to do too with this drop shot is like cast it up on the point and kind of twitch it and work it down. That's what I'm gonna do eventually. Like, a lot of people ask me to try certain things in Sakakawea, like drop shots, like slip bobbers. And there's certainly a time and a place for stuff like that, but I just think the fish here move so much and like to chase things so much. So it's not the best lake to be sitting still fishing all the time, especially in the summer, but we're gonna indulge here. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna do it. Try to cast. I don't know, I should probably try marking more fish. I don't know how many are really here. Jigging Rap cast. I can't believe I'm already casting. I'm still fishing it though. It's right here. My drop shot's in the water. I'm dead sticking it. There's waves. It's working. I'm doing it. But I'm starting to feel like I need to move spots. And I'd like to try to find the fish shallower. We've had a lot of deep fish really early in the season, but I don't want to fish too deep and blow a bunch of fish out. And the best way to find shallow fish when they are deep is a really steep point, hump, bank with wind pushing into it. So they don't really have to go very far to get from 35 to 20. So it's not a big move for them. Then they'll slide up there, push that smelt and other bait up against the bank. So far I found 3 pods of like 2 or 3 fish. But as soon as I like spot lock, they're gone and I keep jogging around and I can't find them back. I'm being ghosted again. I probably need to find an area with a lot more marks. All right, 11:23 in the morning. Found a hump with kind of what I'm looking for. A decent pile of marks. Focused, concentrated, holding theoretically on that hump. That'll give me a good shot to keep fish under the boat to see if they'll actually bite those. Maybe I better try a crawler on this thing. Dead stick it, cast a jig and wrap, use a crawler. That's the order of operations. Sorry I turned the camera off, but I got one to bite the leech. Look at that. Look at that drop shot walleye. Huh? Turned the camera off to take a bite out of my snack, and I grabbed my rod and like, oh, that's heavy. Looky there. 29 feet of water. Should release okay. Drop shot leech walleye. And now that I finally had a chance to handle a fish, I love that smooth reel. It's just as good as that one. It's just lighter. I would imagine if you're actively working it, a drop shot bite might feel a lot like a jig bite because you got that thing up there and they just pop it. So you might just feel a little line twitch or a tick. So I'm hoping I can get bite number 2. Let's not get too carried away though. It's only 1. But there was at least enough fish here to give this a shot, you know. All right, I'm gonna dead stick the drop shot and throw a jigging Rap back here. I've worked my way to the very end of the deep side of the hump, So it's like the hump kind of comes out to a point, and I'm on the point of the hump. So the spot on the spot on the spot. And the wind is coming into the face of the point. And I just kept inching forward until I didn't mark fish anymore. So I'm like one jog ahead of where the fish are. And as I kept creeping out there, I finally started to see the smelt clouds. That's 11:43 there. You can see the smelt clouds in 33 feet. So there are some fish right under the smelt, but a lot of the fish are just inside of them. And their goal typically is to push those smelt up on that steep break. So when you see the smelt or whatever bait's in your system in a certain depth, you typically want to fish just inside of that, where the walleyes are trying to push a few of them into slightly shallower water to trap them. They either don't want the jigging Rap or they want a different color. Maybe I should use a smelty color. White with the yellow tip. I'll try some shorter slackline pops. More erraticness. Yeah, that worked. That got him going. It's not a big one, but he bit it. Whoop. Tag teaming. Jig Raps, drop shot leech. Should I try a drop shot crawler? I probably should try that. Ooh, feisty fish. Now I got my big wall of smelt scooting up here further. I'm gonna back up a little bit. I don't want to be right in it. Because also think about it, you got like 10 million smelt in a school and you got one little leech down there. They're not, it's a needle in a haystack. You got to get it away from all that bait to have a chance. A jigging Rap ripping through that stuff might work because it gets their attention. They can see it obviously moving very differently than the smelt. But for the most part, I don't want to be right in the middle of a bait cloud. All right, we're going with the night crawler. Don't see any marks currently. Hopefully they didn't blow out of here. Maybe we'll jog a little bit. I really want to catch one like working this actively. I want that experience. Boy, now we got like 3 of them on the graph right down there. They got to be thinking about it. Well, I'll go back. Oh. Got him. Oh, that's a decent fish too. I was gonna go back to dead sticking. He was just fighting really hard. He's not as big as I thought. Nice eater. Another one of them 17ers. And so many times with the drop shot, the way that's positioned, you just hook them right perfectly in the nose. From the few experiences I have with drop shot, whether it's smallmouth or walleyes, I seem to catch them all right there. Thanks for playing, little guy. Let's get that jigging Rap back out there. There is a fish steady on the graph, potentially looking at that night crawler. As far as the Pissy Fun reels, they're smooth reels. The only thing I can't comment on is durability and longevity. I haven't had them long enough to know, but if they last, I like them. Well, how about we try a new spot? Just for the fun of it. Get my nice little, that rod holder thing. I'll have to show you a little more about that later. That was a, not a 2-pound horn, but it was a great idea. That works really slick. Oh, we got some bait here, up a lot shallower. And fish inside it. Only one though. Like more than that. Let's go a little tighter into this thing and see if there's some fish shallower. There's a pretty good stack of them right there. Oh yeah. Like that. Like that a lot. Didn't have to go very far. Went to another underwater point, pretty darn close to that hump, and found fish right away. Let's see if they're biting fish, eh? When you saw, or when I saw, or if you see, the bait up a little shallower than normal, there's a good chance that's because walleyes are chasing them up there. I'll put the drop shot down and dead stick it, but oh, there's one looking at it right away. Huh. Nevertheless, back to the plan. Let him think about that a little bit. Hit the drop shot on the dead stick. I was sliding around trying to get my jigging Rap cast on target, and this guy munched it. That's a little heavier fish. I don't know if I should lift him. My net's all stuck though. If I can get my net in position, we can actually get this fish in the boat. How fun is that? There you go. Poor man's drop shot. Now I'm seeing a decent amount of marks down there. Maybe I'll just get my jigging Rap right down there. Since my drop shot doesn't have any bait yet, we'll see if we can pop one vertically on the jigging Rap. Or if it spooks them where they don't care or whatever. They left the screen immediately. Could be a sign. So here, drop the drop shot down, and immediately following the drop of the drop shot, I saw two walleyes come into screen. Were they tight to bottom and lifted up? Were they off to the side and came in to look at it? I don't know. There's a bite. Does he have it? Yeah, he does. He's not a big one. It's a perch. Drop shot perch. Drop shot perch. Got my pants halfway down. I was going to the bathroom and had one hit it. And it's not a bad fish either. I need to get my belt secured. Ooh, ooh, feisty number here. Hopefully my pants stay on. Hopefully the pants stay on. Look at that walleye. Oh, on the drop shot, baby. It's not a giant, that's a really nice eater. And he does have some small leeches in his mouth, which are kind of indicative of the leeches on this lake. That's the kind of leeches you find. If they're even, I don't know if they're leeches or bug larvae, I think they're tiny leeches in there. But there's just not a lot of jumbo leeches on this lake. Not to say they won't bite them because they think it looks enticing, but they're just not out here. Yeah. Drop shot, leech, and night crawler walleyes. 27 feet of water, not bad. Not blowing fish up. Don't have to worry about that. And you literally caught me with my pants down. Are we just getting lucky and getting in the right spot, or are we kind of figuring this out? I don't know. Still don't feel like my pants are situated properly here. We've been working these two spots for a little over an hour, and we got 4 keepers and a smaller one on the jigging Rap. So if you wanted to, you could have kept the 5 and had a limit in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Last day of July. Dog days of summer. Part of why I'm doing this is for something different. I don't think this is the best way to catch fish on Sakakawea right now. The better way would be hit some of that bigger structure, hit some bigger schools, and move through them with crankbaits or bottom bouncers, maybe casting jigging Raps working fast. But if you just want something different, or you just want to find a little spot to yourself, make it easier on yourself, spot lock, and fish something differently, missed them, fish something differently than you're used to doing, for a change of pace, this could work well. But also, not everybody that watches this channel fishes Lake Sakakawea, nor do they fish massive reservoir systems. So for some of you that are fishing some smaller lakes or some more old school natural lakes, geez, I gotta stop hooking myself. This is probably a technique and some spots that are a little more applicable to what you would be doing right now. So yeah, for the people local to Sakakawea, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not suggesting this is a better way to catch Sakakawea walleyes, but it's a different way. That's a decent perch. It's a different way to do it, and potentially a good way to do things elsewhere. And I'm definitely noticing situations like that screenshot at 1 o'clock where maybe something real tight to bottom, but not necessarily marking a fish. And then you drop a bait down and all of a sudden, there they come. They're down there, you just don't know it. You're only gonna mark fish if they're a certain amount off the bottom. If they're pancaked to the bottom, you won't see them. If they're a little bit off, you'll start to see just kind of bumps. And when they're really up actively hunting is when you see them clearly a foot or two off the bottom. Oh yeah, this thing. So you got these trolling motor stabilizers, the Tough Claw, which normally you would drill this into your boat, aluminum or fiberglass, whatever. But the problem with that for me is I can't get my tarp over top of this. So I thought, why don't I get the ram ball that fits in the rod holder and put it up there so I can remove it. And it works great. I talked about that, I think, in the video maybe where I was selling my Altera last fall or something. I don't know. But it's awesome. It works like a charm. It's stable. And you can get it out of the way so you can put your tarp on. Got him. Got him. I noticed I didn't see some marks for quite some time, so I slid out a little deeper. And 28 feet. And got another fish to go. That wouldn't be a bad eater. Count for my 5th and a limit if I were keeping fish. A little small, but not bad. Anyway, if you did like this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would hit that button to say so. Maybe think about subscribing to the channel. Maybe think about Patreon if you want to help the channel out further or get more content like the fishing reports, like the one-on-one fish consulting stuff. And I'll see you in another video for sure. Later, fisher people.